Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast, the internet's best kept Life is Strange secret. I am one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
We are here. It is StrangeCast After Hours. It's late night with Adam and Adnan. We're on late at night for both of us.
We're on very weird schedules because my plan is, and I've not even bothered changing my shirt or doing anything else like that because I'm gonna literally close my computer once we're done. I'm gonna roll into this bed and it's good night. Don't bother me ever again at that point. Yeah, we're on a very strange time schedule because like I've had like a long weekend doing things and moving around and traveling, and Adam's just finished work and we are recording on a Monday. I have to like turn this over on a Tuesday and then get out on a Wednesday. We're gonna have a fast process on this, but the show must always continue. So as we do, we're gonna have to cover this as well. But if you are new here for StrangeCast, as always, we always ask you this question on YouTube, which is ask you this request on YouTube, which is to please consider dropping a subscribe on the channel, like the video, share your friends, turn notifications, help support the channel, help keep up to date with the podcast. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Spotify with over 22 ratings. We've got over 208 followers now on there. So thank you so much to everyone who follows us on Spotify. And
is it on Google Podcasts?
It is on Google Podcasts, yes.
Oh my God. That's
we
crazy.
are on Google Podcasts. Well, actually, they did email me about that as well. I think they're closing down the manager thing on there.
No. Really? Not Google
Yeah.
Podcasts. Oh, damn, dude. Hate that. I wish
We
we were on
actually
Google Podcasts.
We actually have people subscribe from that there.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, there's actually followers on
Are
there.
we on Stitcher? I love Stitcher.
Rip Stitcher. But we are on all podcast services, so you can check us out on there. And obviously, as well, we have the Lost Records Journal, which is our sister podcast for Lost Records, which we'll be talking about in this podcast because it's going to take a lot of conversation up. But that is also available. That is bi-weekly. Go and check that out. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed to that. We've got 39 followers now on Spotify. We've got 7 ratings on there, 5 stars all over. So thank you so much for the support on that. And obviously, we'll keep you up to date with all Lost Records content. And also, just as well, one more thing as well. If you do only watch this on podcast services, we've got an interview with Abby Nissenbaum on the channel, which I did, who is a musician. You can find out why she's on the channel as well, which I think you should. So go and check that interview out. That is only on YouTube specifically. Adam, we've got a lot to talk about here. We've got quite a few topics, including a news piece.
Yes.
So a couple of news pieces. So we'll
Late
go through
at
that.
night.
Yes, late at night. And I imagine some of you know what the main topic is. It's probably going to be in the thumbnail and the title, and it's dominated the news for quite a lot of things. But anyway, Adam, first piece of news. We're going to Michel Koch.
Oh, yes.
So this is the first piece about Life is Strange 2, just a bit of context here. So Michel Koch, Life is Strange 1 and 2 co-director, the studio creative director at Don't Know Montreal. We'll come on to Don't Know Montreal in a little bit, as he said. But this is about Michel talking about Life is Strange 2, because someone put here a user where they put Life is Strange 2 redemption ending from Sean being arrested, telling Daniel to never forget who he is, to the Wolf brothers returning to the place where it all began, Sean breaking down, and this time Daniel being the one comforting him. Such a powerful game, music and ending. That was a tweet. And then Michel quote tweeted that and said, I loved working on this ending so much, even if we wrote it and directed it, I'm still having teary eyes when I rewatched it, which I thought was a very nice thing, because they don't talk about Life is Strange 2 a lot, people, which is again very criminally underrated. We like it. We love Life is Strange 2.
Yes, we
love Life is Strange 2. You became a convert after
United Front.
Yes, and I will fight from the rooftops for that game because it is a great game, and I think people need to give it more of a chance. But yeah, I think it's got some that, like, compared to like True Colors, for example, that came post that, and True Colors like endings were a little bit, good and bad and a little bit balanced. I thought 2 ended on quite a high note with like all the variation of endings you can get.
The variations, yes. Definitely,
because like it's not Choose the Bay or Bay. Life is Strange 2 is a different animal. It's not anywhere near the same first Life is Strange, but it's kind of like tweak things the way that they did in Life is Strange 2, because it is a character story, but like a character piece on Sean and Daniel, and then all the kind of decisions you have between them, their relationship and how it dictates it. I thought it was quite fitting, because by the time you get to episode 5, and when I played it as well, like that kind of setup where it's like, does Daniel get out of the car and like protect you? Do you get out and save him? And all that kind of like I think it's quite emotional by the time you make that choice. I had a friend recently play Life is Strange 2 who had a very, very controversial take about that. It's one thing I've never heard before. And I might even keep it for another episode because it's a very controversial take. Okay, go on. I'll say this. I'm gonna hide his name.
Say his full name, full legal name, social security number.
Gotta give him full anonymity for this, yeah. Because it's one of the wildest Life is Strange 2 takes I've ever heard. Out of everything, did not like Sean Diaz, but more so did not like Gonzalo Martin's performance as Sean Diaz. Could not believe how Gonzalo Martin won a BAFTA, was baffled by it, did not like it in any way, shape, or form.
Did he give a reason?
He was like, he's whiny. It's just like, oh, Daniel. No, did not like Sean Diaz, and he despised Gonzalo Martin's performance. And when I sent him when I sent him the fingers saying like this is where Gonzalo Martin won and who he beat, couldn't believe it. It's like, how has he won this? And I'm like, bro,
because he's supposed to be a teenager, like a growing age kind of thing. Of course he's whiny. Like, that's the thing. That's why I defend Assassin's Creed 3 with everybody's like saying like, oh, Connor is just so monotone. I'm like, the Native American culture is monotone. They do not show emotion. Like, that's the thing. So that's why I defend Assassin's Creed 3 to the end of time. Same thing I'm going to defend Sean here. He's a teenager. He's whiny. It's just I know. But like, bring him on podcast. I will punch him in the face.
We don't condone violence on this show, but no, I'm not taking Gonzalo Martin slander though, because like that was a performance of like a lifetime that he had there. He did fantastic with it. Great performance.
Bad
and that shows
take. Awful take.
And that shows as well in the ending of this as well in this piece. From Sean being arrested, telling Daniel to never forget who he is, to the Wolf Brothers returning to place. Sean Diaz, Gonzalo Martin makes this. And then when Michel's saying, hey, I get teary-eyed when I rewatch it, it's all part of that. The construct of the writing, the acting performances, like they nailed that. Obviously, like Philip Barker's involved in Lost Records, and we're excited for that. But
speaking as an artist from myself, I read that tweet saying like, oh, even if I wrote it, I directed it, I still get teary. It's such a weird feeling when you create art and then it affects you, and it's such a weird feeling, dude. Because I'm just like, oh, I made this. Like, I had a coworker play my music at work, and I was like, is this my track? This is really good. Because like the first thing that went in my head, I'm like, dang, this is some really good strings. I'm like, wait, this is mine. No, I don't know. It's just like, it's such a weird feeling, dude. But yeah, I relate a lot to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, that I love Life is Strange 2 for that. Alone for just the characters and the stories that's being told. And I think like those endings that you have in Life is Strange 2, I think that's a very nice way to wrap that story up. And it's a kind of, when I compare it to True Colors, I'm like, it's like night and day difference, which I prefer in terms of like the depth, because it's like the Alex one has like both pros and cons, and it feels like a little bit hollow at times depending on which ending you pick. But like these ones that you pick, they're both centralized on Sean and Daniel. Like, irrespective of what's going to happen, you're still going to be quite connected to it, because you basically spend 4 episodes, 5 up to that point, really tied into the Diaz brothers story. So I think we wanted to bring that up, and obviously wanted to bring up Michel's insight there, which is great. Adam, I'm going to change left gears here, because obviously we have another piece here. But obviously I just checked the show notes, because what I just realized here was that we actually meant to open with the fact that I'd met Emma Vicelli as part of my experience.
Yes.
Which
you did.
Yes.
And you're taller than her.
I am taller than her. Like, by the way, as well, it blows my mind how old she is. I said it to her. I was like, Emma, it blows my mind how old you are. Like,
she looks great for 80.
Mate, like, no, like, honestly, she's like, I was like, what? I was like, because obviously when we did the first interview on the channel, she told me then, and I was like, that's just mind blowing how old you are, because I did not expect that at all. Adam's trying to do a bit of
I don't know how to, I don't know how to spell her last name. I did it. It's oh yeah, look at that. But like, here's the other thing, Adnan, is that you get shocked by a lot of people's ages. I just don't think you age well. Like, I think you just age like milk, and like everybody else is like aging fine. Like the entire world is aging finely, and you're like, how though? How?
Like, but it doesn't make sense. Like, oh yeah, but like she told me that about at that time as well. She's just celebrated her 45th birthday. I was like,
Yes.
crazy. I'm like, you don't look 45 to me. You look like you're in your early 30s, if not in your 20s to me. But as Adam said, it might just be a me thing that. But no, that was part of the experience though, because me and Emma Vicelli met. So this was thanks to our subscriber and listener Jace, who I'd met for the first time there. We were in the northwest of England, and he convinced me to go after me reluctantly being like, maybe not. And then also Adam was like, you should record Lost Records at 4 o'clock in the morning with me. Get out of there and go there, because it was like,
I made a huge mistake on that. Like, by the way, I said we should record at 4 a.m. because I have a friend coming over, and then we were recording, and then after recording, you're like, "Oh, how's your friend?" I'm like, "Oh, he canceled." And you're like, "What?" I'm like, I was like, it clicked. I'm like, "Oh, we could have done this earlier." Oh crap!
but it's how you casually did it, because like I was more like do you know when you feel the blood boiling? And he was like, "Yeah, I went shopping with Liz," and I was like, "Have you not clicked?" And it clicked in his head, and he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh," I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh." Yes, we had one of those moments. So I was like, lovely. That just added on to it. But no, we went there. Me and Jace were stood there for I think it was like 2 o'clock a signing with her friend Rachel, who's lovely. Another artist, another comic book writer. Great. I love the cover arts that she had for her own books there. But we were there waiting. Clocked onto Emma when she walked in. I was like, that's Emma Vicelli. Pointed out to Jace. And then we were basically, they sat on their table. They had like a little table set up in the store. And we were kind of waiting, expecting like maybe there's going to be a couple of people there that'll turn up first. No one turned up straight away. So I'm like, Jace, I'm like, go and find out from the counter if they're ready. Because it's like, I'm holding this folder with all my Life is Strange comics. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, you need to go and find out. So he like goes over. He's like, yeah, you can go over. So I kind of like went over, spoke to Emma, spoke to Rachel. I was like, hello, how are you? And then obviously I was like, I'm going to give you a bit of a flash from the past here. Emma pulled up my Life is Strange comics. She's like, lovely, all this. And I was like, yeah, it's been a while since we've spoken about it. And she's like, you sound familiar and you look familiar. And it was like,
yeah.
And then we kind of like rolled out that, and it was like, yes, it's this and that. So it was really lovely. And as I said, she's like really bubbly. She's like a lovely, like she's a ball of energy. Emma Vicelli. It's like, it's always great to kind of talk to her, interact with her. You ever been to any of the exposés where she's got stuff signed from her? She's just like really genuinely lovely to talk to. So it's just kind of nice to get there. She signed all my comics, which was nice for her. I even picked up her independent book that she did, which is called Breaks. She signed those as well, which I'm currently reading as well. So I'll kind of get back onto it. But it's just quite nice, the entire experience. It was like even little references to my interview. I said to her, I was like, I've seen Breaks over there. I was like, I know, and Emma Vicelli knows when I see it. And she just started laughing because she draws noses in very distinct styles. But no, honestly, such a cool person. And like, you should go and read the comics. I would 100% recommend it. It might even help you with double exposure as well. There are like certain parallels which you might even draw from that. But yeah, I kind of wanted to give Emma Vicelli a shout out because she's great. I think she's at London Comic Con soon as well. So if you are in down south, you can go there as well. She will be there, so you can take your Life is Strange goodies and get them signed by her.
She's going to be in Texas?
London. Texas.
Oh. Yeah, you said go down south. Down south.
Yeah, I said go down south to London. Like,
yeah, like down south to Texas. Should I go to Texas?
I went to London down south on the weekend, as we've spoken about, and whilst I was there, I sent Adam photos and posted them online of all the Life is Strange merchandise I found in Forbidden Planet, which is like a big anime comic book store kind of thing that we have here. And it's like the biggest one in the UK, and it had all the Life is Strange stuff in there. And even in itself as well, it had Life is Strange 2 stuff. It had like a keyring of the Wolf Brothers. I was like, God damn, Square Enix acknowledging it. It was tucked away in the far corner of the store, as you'd expect, because that's the Life is Strange 2 reputation gets. But it was just all in the same weekend, all last 2 weeks, everything's happened. So I kind of wanted to give you my insight, my experience with Emma Vicelli, meeting her. Lovely. Got to speak to her about half an hour, like just about Life is Strange. And also, here's one thing I said to Adam as well. My first experience meeting Jace, and also my first experience meeting Emma, that's the first time, I said this to him, first time I've ever spoken about Life is Strange outside of a podcast, outside of like online conversations. I've never actually had a conversation with people in person with it. And that was kind of like something that clicked with me there, because it's like talking to her, and she's obviously, Emma's a huge fan of Life is Strange. And you talk about Life is Strange, you're like, that's just so crazy. It's like, it just doesn't feel quite lifelike, because you're either talking on a podcast or you're talking online to people. But yeah, all cool. So I kind of wanted to give that a shout out, and then we can now go back onto the news piece here, because again, a bit of a poor news decision. So I'm not going to mention this developer, Adam, just for the sake of it. I'm going to keep them quiet.
Okay.
Because I thought you'd like drop it. I got this from Reddit, so shout out to the Life is Strange Reddit page. Someone had sleuthed this. So this is a Deck 9 developer, and on their website they have posted kind of like the fact that they've worked on the scene that we saw in the live stream event. So it's the rooftop sequence. So there's a kind of like a lot of like details in it, and they kind of break down certain bits of what they worked on here. And I'm not going to go into full details of certain things, but I did want to say one thing as well, because it says Chapter 1, Observatory Rooftop, which I do wonder if that is the actual chapter's name, or if it's just alluding to this scene.
I think it's just the scene, because look, observatory rooftop, and then observatory exterior, and then overlook. So I think it's just Chapter 1, and then it just says like what scene he's talking about.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So we obviously we've got this, and there's more details coming soon at the end of it. I'm not going to necessarily go through all the pieces here. I'm going to go and pick out one or two here, which is, for example, here, one of my key contributions in this scene was heavily pitching ideas to update the script for key narrative moments. This is the overlook section towards the end of the gameplay reveal. When Max finds Safi's body, the original script had her on the ground, and that's how Max found her. I pitched that we needed to tease the player until the last second the possibility that she's alive. So we had a moment built into the layout where the player would get a glimpse of Safi, and also had her sit on the bench until Max touches her before she falls over for the big death reveal. I love how they've put this in the in the gameplay event. They've also revealed it in the plot story, as you will. It kind of like destroys that element. I did cinematic prototyping for this scene. This involved using our proprietary tool set to make prototype cutscenes with basic camera shots and T-pose models to flesh out cinematics before the artist came in to do a final pass. Oh yes, we love the good old T-pose. So yeah, it's basically an interesting piece here in itself, and it's just like a breakdown of all the little scenes that this person has worked on, and the details you see in here. I'm not going to go through all of it because it's kind of like very minor, but I kind of wanted to mention it because in Insight as well, it seems like, and as Adam has said as well, obviously Chapter 1 will set off here, which will be that we know that Safi is dead, and it'll be this entire like gameplay event reveal, which was shown during the live stream, which was the observatory section. So I imagine that this will probably be maybe a third of the first chapter, if not half of it.
I would say, the third. I don't think we've seen enough of this, because we only got 20-minute gameplay. Yes.
Yeah.
20-minute, and so I'm gonna guess each episode is gonna be like an hour and a half. So I'm gonna say this was just a third.
Yeah. I would like to think this as well, but also as well, it shows you as well, because I've tweeted about this during the live stream event, have mentioned it in here. One part here that this developer says, put one of my key contributions in this scene was heavily pitching ideas to update script for key narrative moments. Max putting on the earbuds and listening to music. That's an iconic moment from the first game with the character of Max. It's like we're already seeing shades, we're seeing little elements of it. There's a lot of stuff to say about double exposure, but there's a lot of stuff here. So like I made 3 prototype testings where we could have that moment to be in the environment that would fit well with the narrative beats the writers wrote and pitched it to the creative director. I felt that the moment needed to be as important fan service, but would also contribute to the calm we wanted in the scene before the story kicks off. 2. Continuing from the last scene, Max taking a photograph of the owl and getting a nosebleed, tying it to the photography mechanic helped with pacing and made transitions to the next level smoother. I did cinematic prototyping for this scene. This involved using our proprietary tool set to make a prototype prototype cutscenes with basic camera shots and T-pose models to flesh out cinematics before the artists came in to do final pass. Again, repeat of that. So little bits here and there, nothing mind-blowing. I thought it was interesting perspective. If you do want to go and read it, I'd recommend going and read it. I'm just not going to mention the developer's name because I just don't want them to get in trouble in case it's like they weren't meant to reveal all this, like, I've worked on this part, I've worked on that part. We will obviously be talking about a lot more about double exposure in depth, in detail, in certain scenes. I think in itself, I do have a conversation with Adam planned, which will be who is the killer, because I think there's a lot to be talked about for that. And to make a prediction on it, it is you, isn't it?
It's me.
It's all
the North Dakota devious murderer.
It's all Adam, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's all Adam before he goes to North Carolina. So we'll move on for that because there's not much to be taken away from that. I'm going to move it into this one, which is a big one as well, and obviously a big shout out to Life is Studio who tagged us in this as well, saying that it'd be worth talking about. So
yes,
I will visualize this as much as possible for everyone who's listening to the podcast. So this was credit to Jenny on Twitter, the user
from the block.
No, not from the block. This is at J3NX24 as the username on Twitter.
That is not Jenny from the block.
It's not Jenny from the block, but Jenny did find a certain thing and went viral for it as well. So to give you context, this is episode 2 from the first Life is Strange. This is when Max is sitting at her desk and the camera moves to the right because we're wondering what's happened to Kate and where the story is going with that. And if you look out the window during one part of the scene, you see Kate Marsh's character model walking across the rooftop. Yes.
Yeah.
The rooftop that you go and later see Kate on top of. The one that Adam let Kate die off of in his first attempt because he did not bother looking in her room. Yes, for reference, friends, we are telling you about that. So yeah.
Did you see that Game Pass UK responded?
Yeah, do you see the response?
Yeah, Game Pass UK, BRB opens the game and plays, and Jenny says, I recorded this on a PS5, by the way.
I don't know if it's an intentional roast. I really don't know if they're actually trying to roast them or if they're just like, I recorded on PS5 kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so funny, dude. Oh my God.
That's the range of how viral this went, by the way, with Adam mentioning that Games Pass UK saw that. So that was wild. So basically, as I said, it's in the remaster. It's also in the original. So it's in both versions. I think Chris from Life is Strange fans verified that it's in both of them. So yeah, you get to see Kate Marsh's character model floating on the roof just briefly if you see it in the corner of your eye, which is crazy. And then obviously we need to talk about Dayeanne Hutton, Kate Marsh herself, who has had a funny reaction on her stream. You can go and check that out. There are archive clips of it. But also Dayeanne tweeted about it, and Dayeanne put, listen, the fact Kate Marsh went unnoticed for 10 years feels like a thing, y'all. Which, yes, that makes sense. And also hashtag bring back Kate Marsh for double exposure. Because
so this goes absolutely on my why Life is Strange 1 is just a legendary game, because even to this day, there are things within the game that I have not seen, dude. It's like every time I play the game, I'm just like, there's something I haven't seen yet, you know?
Yeah.
And I've played it for probably 500 hours without exaggerating, maybe 1,000. But like I've played it so many times and there's still things that we haven't seen, and it's just wild. Whereas like there's other games that like you play it once and it's just kind of like I've seen everything, it's fine, you know?
Yeah. No, well, when you say it as well, when you say it's like legendary for that, that's like for me, for example, with like Lost. Lost is my favorite TV show. You go back and watch it, you notice something completely different. Like there's like little subtle details. You need to watch that show like 3 or 4 times to get all the kind of like full little details that they've been feeding you across 6 seasons. That will like in a link into story plot points. That's the same with the first Life is Strange. You start picking up on things. Obviously, like, you know, the big reveal with like Jefferson. You kind of like see the other like little breadcrumb trails that left for you. But like this, for example, like this is like that high level of storytelling where it's like such a subtle addition. 9 times out of 10 people won't care about it or notice it. And then when it does, it's like, oh my God, crazy. Same with when they did it with Batman Arkham Asylum, when they had the Easter egg in there with about Arkham City. It was like an unmarked wall that someone who was like messing around with broke into it, and then it revealed like the fact that they were making a sequel. Like these are great things. And as you said as well, I wouldn't be surprised if like they have included more stuff. I haven't seen Michel tweet about it. I haven't seen Luke tweet about it. I did see that Luke reacted to the post that we put out on Player One versus World's Instagram, which is Day's response. He liked it. So obviously, it's not something that was just like by mistake. They've obviously planted it intentionally. But as Adam said, it's like, I think it adds to the kind of like the depth of that moment as well. Because like now I think when you watch it, I think it's the same level of like, not the same level. It's the same level of like significance, or actually not significance. It is an interesting comparison, for example, when you see Warren outside the window, creeping Warren, like hiding around the block.
Yes.
It's like, changes your perception of Warren. And it's like when you see this with Kate as well, like that is in itself like a harrowing scene, a harrowing segment. And then for this to actually happen, you see it, I'm like, I got shudders,
It's
man.
crazy to see, dude.
Yeah, I got shudders. I got shudders completely on that. So that was quite a nice revelation for the Life is Strange community to kind of get behind. And I think we will. Anything else?
No. Hello, Dayeanne Hutton. You are great. I hope you come back and play in Life is Strange soon.
I hope she does as well. She deserves it. Get Day back.
Yes.
So
hashtag get Day back.
Get Day back. So Adam, the next piece. I'm trying to open this up on Twitter. Oh God, I hate Twitter so much.
What do you need, buddy?
Yes, the Life is Strange
concept merchandise.
Yes, can you open it up? Because when I click on it, it opens the web browser link, and it's like I can't log into it. Cheers, Elon. That's all I need is like that. Do you want to run it?
Yes. So this is from Life is Strange fans. So if you really need a fan site, if you need a Discord for Life is Strange fandom, check out Life is Strange fans. They're great. Mike Hetty is fantastic. Chris Anderson is just also fantastic. So, and it's funny how me and you have interacted with each of them separately. So, but yeah, definitely check out Life is Strange fans. So they tweeted out saying, I created concepts, and I'm assuming this is Chris saying this. Yes. I created concepts for the potential Life is Strange merch years ago, but we're still waiting. We don't know the real reason, so it's not criticism, just, disappointment. But let's get a show of hands of whether you would buy each product. Maybe one day one of them will happen. Remember, these are fan concepts only. Thread begins below. Please vote on each merch. So one is a Life is Strange hardback art book concept, which is a great design. And then the other one is collectible dioramas concept. So I'm assuming the dioramas from episode 5, where you like go through each one and see all that. But yeah, no, it is fantastic. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's more. There's a Moleskin art book that they did. There are universe like Bigfoot's like a Blackwell Academy gym bag and basketball jerseys. We've got art prints. We've got postcards. We've got action figures.
Mm-hmm.
We've got. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all.
No, I kind of wanted to give it a shout out because I alluded to it in one episode where Chris had like done stuff with this, like in terms of like merchandising idea. This is like for me where Square Enix dropped the ball with like Life is Strange. Like in 2015, they could have like rinsed the merchandising, like like just little things, because they've done certain things where it's like there's like a Blackwell book that you can get, and it's like they have the comics, they have other merchandising here and there. We've talked about in StrangeCast, Adam, with like the ice cream event that happened, which popped up out of nowhere.
Yes.
We've had like, the collector's editions for like Life is Strange 2, for Before the Storm, for Life is Strange 1. But like Square Enix is known for like doing a lot of merchandising. So for example, you have like Play Arts Kai figures. I have some in my window. Like, why do I not have like a Hot Dog Man Play Arts Kai, or like a Max or a Chloe? It's like, or even a Rachel Amber. Like, think if they do like a Rachel Amber like thing, you could just basically sell that to the people who love Rachel Amber, for example. Like
exactly
as like fans. I think that they just like they left it too long, and then they've kind of regretted that mistake as well. My personal opinion, if anything, because Life is Strange merchandise didn't have to be like printed in the same vein as Pokemon, for example, because it's not as popular. But it would 100% have sold. They could have sold it for their store, for example, on the Square Enix store, like easily those figures. I thought there were some cool ideas that you put in there, like Chris, like in terms of figures and stuff. Like easily, would have like flown off the shelf. Like
I
had
would have done the basketball jerseys.
There you go. Look at that. You would have traded in your Allen Iverson top, and you would have got who would you have in the back? Madsen.
Yes, I would have a Dave Madsen Sixers jersey for sure.
Yes, there we go. So that's the one. Would he be your go-to shirt number? Who would you have in the back of your shirt if you had that chance? The basketball. I know it's going to be alluding to the Blackwell people, but like if you had a chance to pick one Life is Strange character, who'd you pick on the back name
to be like my jersey name? Graham. Be a Warren Graham jersey, yeah, straight up.
Oh.
Gotta shout out the normies here. Gotta go for the STEM normies. Let's go, baby. Yeah.
Yes.
Warren Graham.
Warren Graham, man. You give him a lot of love for Warren.
Because he shot his shot. He shot his shot, dude. He went. Can I go for Max? Shoot my shot, and I missed. Oh,
and he missed my well, it depends on whichever. Mine would be Chase for Victoria. Yeah. I like that.
Well, there is one. They did make one for Victoria. One of the basketball jerseys. Oh, sorry, no, never mind. I thought they did. I thought there was one.
Just stitch me up there.
Yeah. Nope, they have one for Nathan Prescott, Kate Marsh, Chloe Price, and Max Caulfield, but nope. No Graham.
Choice for Kate Marsh.
Yeah. But Warren Graham for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought we'd give a shout out to Chris. Go and check out the thread. Is on Twitter. It's interesting. It'll make you feel heartbroken as well, because obviously I think most people look at that and be like, I would buy that, and I'd buy that, and it's like I'm the same. I'm like, I would buy that as well, but unfortunately, it just never happened, and it might have been for different various reasons. It might not have been feasible. It might not have worked on the marketing side. I think personally they could have easily done like a limited run edition of them and sold them at like a X amount of copies, because I think they probably would have sold quite a lot. But as you will, Adam, next piece.
Yes, next piece. Let's do it.
Next piece. So long overdue, but the Life is Strange YouTube channel released a video, which is Who is Max? Life is Strange double exposure video. So we actually tweeted about this, which was a thumbnail that was leaked because they accidentally uploaded the video and it disappeared in record time. And I think a couple of days after this, it was re-released on here. So I watched the video. This video is very similar to the one that they did for Alex Chen, for Steph Gingrich, for True Colors. It's like almost an introductory video to people, obviously, who have no idea who Max is. It's kind of like, as they've kind of spoken about in the marketing for double exposure, is targeted to newcomers and reoccurring members. However, watching this, it still doesn't make me feel convinced that about double exposure in certain elements, because it feels like Max is being hollowed out here in terms of the character depth that we get. And it feels like parts of her history is being rewritten. You'll see it, and there's like even there's even like a thing in there which is like Max Caulfield, and it gives you a bit of a history of her as a photographer and stuff. Again, it feels like it's diluted, because like you'd want to mention like Arcadia Bay in there and be like, she went back to Arcadia Bay and did this, but then that's also dependent on the choice of endings you had, for example, and in Life is Strange 1, and it's like they're saying that neither of those endings are canon. It's like, we're going to respect both endings, but how can you respect both endings with the Max that you have here? There are certain alarm bells that are going off my head here. This is why, like, we've sat on the fence, me and Adam. We're kind of still watching it. We're still kind of like intrigued. Obviously, that's the main thing for me. I'm intrigued by everything at the minute. And it's
I think both of us are on the same page where we're like, it's not that we're not excited. It's just kind of like we're on the fence for the most part. I think we're both in agreement on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Because did you not find
especially since it's set in Vermont
and that's
not Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Mate, if Bernie doesn't turn up and like, you know, start punching the killer, I'm done with this series. I'm not interested at that point.
I'm asking you once again to bring back Chloe Price.
Yeah. Oh Bernie. But do you not find as well with the video, when you watch it, it comes across almost like a reboot, a refresh. It's like, this is a new Max Caulfield. This is like, you don't need to know about
Yeah.
Victoria Chase. You don't need to know about your boy Warren. Forget Warren Graham. It's like, this is just Max Caulfield, Force Awakens style reboot. Let's just like,
Yes.
let's go. That's what the worry is with it. Because it's like, I think, for example, and if you're excited for dual exposure, be excited for it. We're just talking, we're talking pure discussion, because we always say this with True Colors. It's like, I don't hate that game. I don't like, if you listen to me, you'll probably be like, this guy does not like it, etc. I like that game. However, I have certain criticisms about it, critiques about it. Same with Adam with like
About double exposure.
about True Colors.
Oh, True Colors, yes.
True Colors, and also for double exposure. Same with double exposure, because as I said, everyone is always like, I'm excited for Hannah Tell, but, and it's like, then the question starts, because obviously everyone is excited for Hannah to come back, Max coming back, but all these other questions come up with.
Can you imagine if not only did they bring back Max, but not the original voice actress? This would be dead in the water.
God.
And I think they knew that. I think they absolutely knew that. Like, if you're going to bring back Max, you have to bring it back Hannah Tell. Otherwise, it's just nope. Just a straight up nope for the entire community, I think.
Yeah, no, there's no chance they wouldn't be able to do it. Like, in itself, like, the big questions are if Chloe's in the game or not. Is it going to be Ashley Burge? Are you going to use Rihanna DeVries? Does Rihanna DeVries work with Hannah Tell? There's like a lot of variations of it. I have very different feelings on Chloe at the minute from what I've heard, but like, I don't know if like Chloe's even going to be in the game. Like, who knows at this point? I could be wrong, but like, I've heard other things in between. But it's like, I with Max though, I'm a little bit concerned, Adam. Like, I just don't know. Like, she has elements of it. We've seen it. We've seen like the kind of like, the Max we
elements,
have. But I think people are, and as I said, like, this kind of goes back into archery. You're excited, be excited. I've got high expectations. I said before, like, you basically,
especially in this day and age, if you find joy in something, find joy in something, dude. I hate this time period right now. So if you're excited for it, be excited for it. Be hyped, dude. Because like, it's hard to do nowadays, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as I said, like, be excited for it. But my expectations are here. And the other thing is, well, it's like, I think like people seem to like keep forgetting. It's like, we're not respecting just like one ending. We're trying to respect both endings, which is going to hollow out your character. And then it's like, will like Deck 9 really be able to deliver with this Max Caulfield? Because even like, for example, Adam said, you can't just change your voice actress. If they did make that massive direction change, then it would give you even more room to be like, actually, we're going to make this Max completely different because she's 10 years older.
Yeah.
And then it might be a hard sell, but you kind of like have justification for it. But you basically bought Hannah Tell back. You have Max Caulfield, but you don't have Don't Nod there. And it's like, that's in itself like a big thing. So I think like the marketing videos kind of like, it kind of says itself. It's like, it's introducing you back to new old comers. But then if you're an old comer and you watch it, it's like missing the raw elements of like her character depth, all her details. It's like, imagine playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and it doesn't acknowledge the story of Assassin's Creed 2. And you're trying to be like, it's newcomers for Ezio Auditore. And it's like, hang on a minute. He doesn't have any of the stuff that you talked about in number 2, which like defined his character.
Yes.
It's a bit.
Or it's like, making, I don't know. I'm just going to pull a name out of the hat, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Just putting it out my behind and not acknowledging anything from the old games, just kind of like making your own story. I think people will be kind of annoyed from that if you're from the beginning times of Assassin's Creed. So yeah, just a thought I would have.
Yes.
Did you hear, by the way, this is a news piece just for you. Did you hear Konami was just like, we would love to work with Kojima and work with him. The dream is to work with him again, please, Kojima. I'm like, God, dude, they know, dude. They know that they can't do Metal Gear without him, dude.
Yeah, well, because it's like they're getting away with like the things that they know from the third game, but it's like,
yes,
but they need his name. It adds credence, doesn't it? It's like, because obviously in between this, did you see the news about Dead Rising being remade?
Yes. Oh my God.
Which was like out of nowhere, and I've been screaming for new Dead Rising. I have big concerns about that game because like the first Dead Rising is a masterpiece for me, and it's so grounded in its cartoon visual style. Like Frank West looks like he's aged 35 years in some weird kind of visual.
Dude.
There's a lot of. I know Capcom. By the way, as well, I know Capcom has got a good record. Fair enough to them, but I will say this again: nothing is sacred. And I'm 100% saying to you now, I'm even more convinced in my life that the first Life is Strange will get remade, because in itself, we've just had Hannah Tell do performance capture for double exposure. If I think I know where Life is Strange is going, and they're going to go through this multiverse, jumping through like timelines and stuff, Max Caulfield might become the flagship mascot character again and have 4 or 5 games in there. You can't rule it out. Nothing is sacred. And even if it's upset, like, I don't even want the remake of the first game. It's just going to happen because that is every industry. But obviously, with Adam saying that thing about Konami, it's like if they were to remake the first Life is Strange game, and they'd be like, and Square Enix's producers like, oh, Michel, come back, please. Like, help us support the game. And then Michel's like, well, don't put your game's release date out at the same time as us, but we'll come on site in a moment.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's just like Kojima should definitely not work with Konami, but like, of course, Konami wants to work with Kojima. Like, of course, dude. And then like Konami's just like, we know all the other, like, the original developers, they got their own thing. I'm like, I wonder why, Konami. I wonder why. So, you know, there's all that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go anywhere near them for the time being. But they try like extend the olive. It's like extend the olive branch. It's like, come back, and it's like, nah.
Exactly.
Nah.
Meanwhile, Kojima's making 3 games at the same time, and it's like, oh, come on, you can do one more. You can put one more on your plate. Yeah. So dumb, dude.
No. Right. Should we move into our last piece of news? Very brief before obviously the meaty conversation. So
definitely,
we're doing this.
I'm a sleepy boy.
Indeed, you're a sleepy boy. So we got obviously a big piece, like a little small piece here, and it's for time relevance. So Don't Know has announced a Steam Summer Sale alert. So it says, enjoy some great deals on our latest games from June 27th to July 11th. It's still running when you get this episode, including Jusant, Harmony, Fall of Rivrier, Gerda, Flame of Winter, Vampire, Banishers, and Twin Mirror. Adam would recommend a lot of those. He recommended Banishers on the last Lost Records Journal episode because he finished it.
I did beat it.
He did beat it. He's currently getting a Jusant vinyl because he loves Jusant as well. So that's another glowing endorsement. Twin Mirrors is a very interesting game. Vampire's got high praise with it. Adam spoke highly of that. And the same with Harmony's a very interesting game he played as well. And he really liked the soundtrack from Lana Rain in there. So go do check that out, if anything. Adam, main topic?
Yes.
Of course. Of course, because what else could we be talking about on StrangeCast aside from this episode on this topic? So we're going to go to here, which is the Lost Records Twitter page, which put out on the 28th of June. Today, we share the news that Lost Records Bloom and Rage will now release in early 2025. We wanted to give both Lost Records and the upcoming Life is Strange game the space they need to shine, but we promise it will be worth the wait. So that was a tweet that they put out, which confirms that Lost Records has been delayed. I'm going to go to Games Industry Biz here, which is an article they put here, because there's quotes from, please tell me this. Yeah, there's quotes from Oscar Gobert, Don't Know CEO, and he said, quote unquote, we know that many of our fans are eagerly waiting this game, just as they are the recently announced next installment of Life is Strange. Let's give both titles the space they need to be enjoyed by our players within the large community we have built. We firmly believe that the wait for Bloom and Rage will be worth it. We look forward to sharing this new adventure, which we hope will become another memorable chapter in the Don't Know universe, end quote. So that's that. I'm going to quickly pull these up as well because Michel Koch, he's back here as well into the conversation. He tweeted on the 1st of July, so this is very relevant actually. He's quote tweeted the Lost Records tweet, which confirmed the delay, and he put, that's a win-win, a more polished game, and some time to play Life is Strange double exposure before Lost Records. And then before that, we had Mr. Luke Bagadost, who didn't post any writing, but went on his meme formatting.
The kombucha girl.
The kombucha girl. Thank you for the he's added context there.
I'm on my meme game.
Yep. And it's one side which says me when discovering the new Life is Strange trailer, and the other is me looking at the release date. And that was his entire, that is all Luke has said. So Michel has put words out there. Luke has been like completely different. And Adam has his own thing where it's like, he's like, Luke's the producer. He's like leading the charge on this, like getting the game, like all there, getting the marketing, like everything promoting. He's on the non-artistic side.
Yeah.
And then Michel's
so like That's what I mean. That's why I kind of like talk about this at first, because again, as someone who is very, very minor in the producing game, like you can see my board here. It's just like I focus on release dates. I focus on getting things shipped out and getting people like involved. There's a lot to production. Not to say that game development doesn't take a lot out of you. But the whole point about being a game producer and just a producer in general is to get the game released on time, get everybody reined together and be like, hey, we got this goal. And it's like, what do we need? Oh, we need to schedule this with this voice acting. Like your whole life is like scheduled around this schedule. And so when the game producer says, like from the Kombucha Girl meme, me looking at the release date, and it's just that confirms to me that this was an October game, Bloom and Rage. Whether or not this was like on the same day as, like, I don't know. I think this was an October date. I think they came out within a week of each other. And as the game producer, you're looking at all the things you had to sacrifice, just personally speaking, all the things you had to sacrifice just to get this game finished and released on time, just for Square Enix to be like, hey, 4 months from now, Max Caulfield's coming back. And you're just sitting there as the game producer, like, are you insane? So his mind is just all over the place. So whereas the game devs, not to say that they weren't upset, but it gives them more time to like polish up and make sure everything's perfect. But god dang it, dude, like I felt this
in itself as well, because like you do the music producing. I've spoken to people who have music producers, and even with Luke, it's not even that the release date is just the release date. It's a big one, because it's like the 29th of October is when the game comes out, which is double exposure. Yes. And then you have 2 weeks early access. So you basically cut off half of October. So like, even if you release Lost Records at the beginning of the month, at 1st of October, by the time you get to November 1st, people are going to be playing double exposure. So you basically have like very little room. We talked about this on the last Lost Records episode, because me and Adam kept saying like, can you do like September, October? Can you do November, December? And we were kind of like flip-flopping. And then even in itself, we were talking about the conversation where it's like, if we...
I didn't realize... Sorry, I didn't realize, double exposure was the 29th. Oh, dude, I bet you anything Lost Records, because it was like spooky, like fall vibes. I bet... Oh...
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you anything that was the release date, October 29th. I bet it was on the exact same day.
All spooky elements, part
because
2 references.
Like, why is double exposure coming out on the 29th? It's set in winter. Why can't it come out in November? Why did it have to be Halloween weekend? What the heck? Oh man, dude. And here's where I get a little bit pissed. Okay, so there is like, if you Google double exposure Life is Strange release date, it says October 29th. But then I see on the same thing on Google, it says initial release date October 15th, which is 2 weeks before. So they're treating that 2 weeks advance, if you buy the $80, as the initial release date.
Yeah.
And like you said, it cuts off all of October, dude. Basically, the second half, which is, I guarantee it, dude, Lost Records was going to come out October 29th. I bet you anything, dude. Oh, my God. I didn't realize that.
Because in itself as well, like that month gap as well, you basically like don't have enough time to kind of... Because like Lost Records is released 2 parts. It's like you want the time to kind of like give room to talk about it, have conversations, do stuff. And then that's going to be absolved in Life is Strange stuff. It's like literally your worst nightmare. We were talking about this in the last Lost Records episode, when we were talking about, basically it's like me and you creating a first-person shooter game, and then Call of Duty comes out the same month, and I'm like, Adam, get your bags packed. We're not releasing it in the same, like, not a chance.
Yeah.
It's the same with like...
Well, again, it would be like it would be exactly like you know, like somebody who's from Sledgehammer Games or Raven Software, like people like making their own studio and then making a shooter game, and then it's Call of Duty coming out. So it's not only like we're making a shooter game, but it's the same creators as the shooter game, which is, oh my god, dude, I can't believe that happened, man. And that's the thing. It's so, bro. It's so okay. I know I said before that I'm on the fence with double exposure. I'm gonna say it right here. Like, Adam, you can have it. You can have your little on the fence journalism bull. I'm not excited for double exposure. Not excited. Not really. Like, I'm just like, I'm buying the $80 version because I'm on this show. But if I wasn't on this show, I probably wouldn't buy this game at all. Like, I straight up wouldn't buy it.
Now he's pinning the blame.
Yeah.
This is just
that's what I mean. Like, Adnan is like excited because your whole life is life is strange. You built this channel off of it. You've interviewed people like you when you bought the collector's edition. I didn't blame you because like that's like your thing. Like, Life is Strange is big in my life, but this just feels shisty, dude. This feels like
it does. It does.
Yeah, it feels like such a sand in the eyes bull from Square Enix. Like, okay, I know I joke all the time on this podcast, all the time, or just say like, "Oh, I'll sell my soul for some Square Enix merch." This is just like the most shistiest, shadiest, like most bullshit like thing to do from Square Enix. That I'm just like, dude, no, I don't like. All jokes aside, with the whole like, oh, Adam will do anything for free stuff. No, dude, Square Enix was shady on this one, dude. 4 months. You gave this game 4 months? 4 months. And you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew. Why didn't you give this like 6 months? You gave this game 4 months of marketing, knowing that Lost Records is coming out, and Square Enix is like, I bet you anything, this Halloween game is going to be set in Halloween. Make this winter game a Halloween release. Better yet, take up all of October. Why don't you? Oh, it's shady, dude. Shady.
No, you're right about a lot of things. Because even like those editions and stuff, like if I wasn't running the channel, if I was no longer affiliated with Life is Strange, I wouldn't be buying them. Like, I've already had to speak. I am being handicapped by that decision. Like, to buy those editions. Yeah. I know people who are buying the Ultimate Edition digitally because they want the 2 weeks early access. That means
it's the only way you can buy it. Like, it's only digital.
Yeah.
So it's like the only way you get this physically is if you buy the standard edition and then buy the $30 upgrade. It's like, what the heck?
So you don't own the physical edition. Then people want the Steelbook, for example, which comes with the physical edition. So you might buy that. Then on top of that, you might buy the collector's edition. No, the collector's box, which has been rebranded to collector's box to kind of give it a bit of detail. So you could easily upwards spend about $200. Think about that on the knock-on effect, for example. If someone who's a Life is Strange fan and who is a Lost Records would-be player won't buy Lost Records because they might not spend the extra money because they've already hand over fist spent all that money from it. And it's like,
shiesty,
like,
dude.
I'm as I said, I'm staying very much on the fence with like Life is Strange because I want to see where it goes from here and the direction. It's Max Caulfield, obviously, and etc. But I am very much excited for Lost Records. We pitched the idea of like doing the Lost Records journal. Me and Adam have covered, like, we basically turned StrangeCast into a hybrid because we wanted to include Lost Records content into here, like, because we covered Montreal for about 3 years, and it was like the excitement was built for it. But like, let's be honest as well, like. They've like people like I saw some people put out takes saying like it's really admirable for like Don't Nod to acknowledge Deck 9 and like give them space in these games. No, they aren't. They are being handicapped. I do not believe the words that are being put in this statement in terms of the statement from it, because I said this to Adam as well. Don't Nod Entertainment is a publicly listed company. Oscar Gobert is not going to turn around and be like, this game's not coming out. And then when his investors ask in Q4 2024, what is your big blockbuster release? He's going to be like, yeah, I decided to delay it because whatever. It's like, that's why they're being transparent about it. He has had to say that because otherwise his investors would say, why is your big game, which you've already greenlit for a franchise essentially from the creators of Life
time.
Yeah, and they did this, and you said this as well with Banishers last year. And Banishers is a big game because that is a published game, RPG. You saw how well Vampire sold with Focus. Like, they have to basically answer to this. So it's like, in itself, and I said this to Adam as well, like, you don't understand how lightly they must have taken this decision, because the fundamentals must be that the game will sell well next year, early next year. But also, you're missing the holiday season. Like, people spend money in the holiday season. Like, do you know, even the people who like, you know, I might not spend a bit of money in early 2025 because I'm saving, because I'm doing this, and that. They might not be willing to spend a bit of extra money in early 2025. So it's like the holiday season is prime, you know? Like, Adam's wife, for example, could be like, I want Lost Records. It's a holiday season. I want it for Christmas. And then Adam's like, okay, I'll get it you. But because it's early 2025, he's like, nah, I'll get it you for next Christmas instead. And she's like, what you on about?
So I do want to point this out. I had to Google why did Banishers get delayed, because I wanted to see the list of games that were coming out around the same time. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to read this like a couple different paragraphs. Banishers Goes to New Eden isn't the only game that was delayed to fall 2023. Out of fall 2023, according to, you know, Alone in the Dark remake, blah blah blah. But November 2023 has many big name heavy hitters, as October 2023 does, including Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, like a Dragon Gaiden, Persona 5 Tactica, Super Mario RPG, The Talos Principle 2, Tales of Arise Beyond the DLC. Now the game's release is in February, however, has to compete. So it then Banishers was delayed to February of the next year, February of this year. However, it has to compete with such games as Persona 3 Reload, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Suicide Squad, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and most importantly in February, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Helldivers 2. So they had to fight with so Banishers took away from fall to avoid Call of Duty, and then got into February, which had to go against Final Fantasy Rebirth and Helldivers 2, which is insane. I didn't even think about that, dude.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the other thing. This isn't the only time that they've delayed it, and now they're going to go into 2025, and now we're seeing that 2025 is also going to be stacked, dude. From all these release dates that we're getting, it's like, oh, quarter 2, 2025, quarter 1, 2025. So I'm scared for Lost Records in this point, where it's just like same thing happened, which, by the way, I completely recommend Banishers. After beating it and sleeping on it, God, dude, please play Banishers. It's actually a really good and fun game, dude, with a lot of side content, dude. So if you liked it, bro, get Banishers. Like, let's go. But anyways, yeah, like I forgot I had to fight against Rebirth and Helldivers, and so what's Lost Records going to fight against in early 2025? You know,
everything, because as you said, like 2025 is the catch-up year, because in itself everyone's going to dodge the late Q4 window, because that's when Grand Theft Auto 6 is expected. Then on top of that, like, Sony will start rolling out its blockbuster games again in that year. It's like not had anything planned this year. Xbox will start looking at release windows. Like, we're in territory here, which is like, you know, we're in forced territory section, if anything. Oh dear.
Oh God, dude. Yeah. So they're like, so there are some games we don't know the release date of, but one of the things is Pokemon Legends Z to A. We have Monster Hunter Wilds. We have Mixtape. We
Yeah.
we don't know. We have Doom: The Dark Ages. Okay. We have Big Walk, which is only coming out on PC. That's stupid. Oh, dude, we don't have a release date on Death Stranding 2.
Yes.
Bro. Like, there's so many stacked games, dude.
A lot of games.
Oh man, I'm scared, dude.
Look, like, I've kind of seen, you know, at least I know that the Don't developers seem to be in high spirits. At least, you know, they're continuing to do their thing, they're continuing to work, and which is kind of good. But we've spoken about this before, and Adam has repeatedly said, like, you know, the reaction has always been like, oh, it's from the creators of Life is Strange, this looks cool, and then they move on. It's just not got the same resonance. Like, for example, look at Life is Strange. We were basically, me and Adam had done an episode that was just very prior to the reveal of the game, which was that about the allegations against Deck 9 against Square Enix. And then an entire episode we were talking about, is it like the series tainted? And within minutes, the entire narrative has shifted because they bought Max Caulfield back. That's the selling power of Max Caulfield. Adam before said, like, it shows where Life is Strange 1 is almost like a legendary game because of, like, those little details we haven't uncovered. That's the brand power that Life is Strange currently has. And I think, like, for example, had Lost Records come out in this window, it would have hurt certain parts of the sales from Life is Strange. But Life is Strange now, in a nutshell, would have cannibalized this game because there is not much they can do. We've spoken about this before. Marin is their brand manager. Like, think about the difficulty of getting that sold to people because, like, they've only got a budget on certain things that they can do for marketing. They've, like, sent Frederica, Luke, Michel out on media rounds here and there, and I've seen people cover it. But Lost Records, for example, if you Google it, the most recent stories that have happened on Lost Records is the delay. Prior to that, it's the couple of interviews here and there that I've spoken to Michel, Luke, and Frederica. And then on top of that, it's like there's a small community of people who are interested. Obviously, people who are enthusiastically care about Don't Nod, people who enthusiastically are like OG Life is Strange fans who are very much interested in Luke Michel's work. But, like, the narrative isn't there, for example. Like, you get more content coverage every 2 weeks about Lost Records on the Lost Records Journal because it's the only thing talking about it. There's nothing else there, is there? I'm not bragging. I'm not, like, you know, inflating the podcast reputation or the brand and stuff, but that's where it is, though. We're talking about, me and Adam are talking about a game here, which we don't know if it's good. I expect it's going to be phenomenal, just if they are watching this, Luke. They have absolutely unbelievable faith in it, but we don't know much about the game. We know about the characters' names. We know about some of the actors who are in the games. We've only seen part of Velvet Cove. We've seen 2 trailers. It's like we've only seen so much information, and they've had to, like, you know, like, spread time out, you know, to kind of like get the marketing available for it, because Marin ain't gonna have, like, you know, a triple A Square Enix budget. He's gonna have what the Don't Nod team is, because it's a Don't Nod developed game. It's a double A indie budget. Square Enix is triple A. You know, their finances might be in the mud, but they'll just chuck money at Life is Strange because they know it's going to sell. For example, they might get $200 out of someone for all these early access and different content editions and stuff. And if, like, for example, if someone wants to cover, like, content from Life is Strange, they're going to jump at it. Like, who's going to say these publications aren't going to want to interview, like, Hannah Tell or Deck 9 developers or give Life is Strange traffic? Because it'll get numbers. That will happen in Google. People like search for Life is Strange. What's this theory? What's this theory? Let me speak about this. That's what usually happens. Lost Records isn't going to get that. It's not got the same brand power at the minute because it's an untested game. It's an untested IP. Yeah. And that is so problematic for it. And it ultimately,
at least with Banishers, at least it was within the same realm as Vampire because it was focus and Don't Nod, so at least you could market it like that. It's like from the creators of Vampire, you know, and it had the same feel as Vampire. But this one, like you said, it's untested. Like, of course it's Michel, and of course it's like Life is Strange-esque, you know, but it's in a different studio. Like, I don't know. It's oh man, it's weird, dude. Yeah,
like,
it sucks, dude.
It completely sucks because it's like I'm pretty much convinced that this game was going to come out anyway. Like, at that time, like, it seems like it's on production schedule. It doesn't seem like there's any issues with it. There was nothing to kind of suggest that there's going to be a delay with it. And the fact that they've come out transparently is basically like they are acknowledging, in my sense, like, Don't Nod is acknowledging that Square Enix has screwed them over from that. And it's like, because they can't do anything about it. What they're going to argue against it? Oh, the game's not, like, you know, in full kind of like completion mode. Like, we haven't, like, got these, like, check markers there. They've got to every moment of it. It seems like they were going to get ready to reveal a release date. That's probably the best thing that's actually happened, Adam. Like, if in itself as well, I think, like, if they had the chance, they probably wouldn't even mention it was going to come out in Q4 2024 if they know it's, like, coming soon instead. But obviously, they've kind of gotten away with the fact that there's not an actual release date yet, which is, like, good for them at that point because he can push it back and be like, actually, you know, this is why we're going to be pushing it back. But it is just that, like, Square Enix has made that decision. This game, Square Enix has been making that game since 2020, like, if not a bit earlier. And it's like, I don't know what the marketing behind it. I saw some people, like, even a YouTuber as well, I'm not going to mention, they're like, you know, Deck 9 releasing this game in Life is Strange's, like, time, releasing Life is Strange in the time of Lost Records is, like, underhanded. I'm like, well, it's not Deck 9, you know, that's not how this stuff works. It's their development studio.
I don't believe Deck 9 had a say in this at all. Like, I'm putting 110% of the blame on Square Enix on this one. Like,
of course,
Deck 9 does not have any blame in my mind. whether we're recording or not, like off camera, on camera, I'm putting 110% of the blame on Square Enix on this one.
Yeah.
They knew what
Yeah.
they were doing. They absolutely knew. So crappy, dude.
Because in itself as well, it's ironic because, like, for example, that game's being released in like October, Life is Strange, prior to the 10-year anniversary. Luke and Michel are now releasing their game, which is a spiritual successor to Life is Strange in that element, near the 10-year anniversary of Life is Strange. It's like, do you like that weird kind of like fan fiction fantasy idea that you'd have in your head that you'd think would be quite like an amusing
That's
notion?
the other thing. Oh, that's so shiesty. I hate that because, like, okay, so Life is Strange 1, right, came out in January of, right?
January 2015. I think it's January 31st.
Let's just Google it.
Or is it
January 30th
30th
of 2015. January 30th. And the game is set in winter. And we couldn't have put this in January when it's set in winter. And it would have been marked as the 10 years since Max. This was the shadiest, dude. Dude.
It's very shady.
Oh my god, dude. And that's the other thing. You can announce it at the Xbox showcase and then say it's coming out January, like fine. Like that's a good amount of marketing for this game. But to give it 4 months, dude, that's like even Todd Howard doesn't give like only 4 months, Like, god dang it, dude. Like it's so it's shady, dude. I hate it. Not a fan of Square Enix here.
No, it's quite wild because, like, for example, like the Life Lost Records, it was first announced at the Game Awards in December last year, and then it was going to obviously come out in October. Look at the time frame that we were going to put into the marketing of that longer period, not as active, but like a longer period. But Life is Strange, as you said, it's almost like 4 months. And it's like the decision was made to put it out, and it's a holiday sales. That's what I think they're going for, Square Enix. That's why they've like pulled the trigger, because it's like, you know what? Why are we gonna wait till January? Why don't we get the holiday sales in early? Why don't we get an early access out, make a bit of money off that, get people to kind of jump on it, like pay $30 extra.
I knew it. Even Fallout 4 was a 5-month, announcement to release date. So I don't, something as satisfying as the announcement of Fallout 4 and then 5 months. Even Fallout 4 was 5 months, and they gave this game 4. Anyways, so I'm calling now.
We like they've. I think, as I said before, I think Michel handled himself very well before with like when Double Exposure was announced and people asking about Max and stuff. Handled himself in a completely dignified way, and has done it again with the statement as well. Because obviously, again, he's doing that thing where he's like dismissing tribalism, which is good, which is like saying like,
yes,
I'm looking forward to seeing what Double Exposure is doing. And again, like, you can take sides in this war. I'm not really interested in taking sides in the war. Like, I have more of a criticism and critique on this channel about Square Enix than I ever have with Deck 9, because I think
I'm American. I have no problem, taking sides in the war.
Of course you do. Of course you do. But it's like, I've said this to Adam as well before. It's like, even the idea of, like, for example, Life is Strange Double Exposure, I don't even think it's a Deck 9 idea. It's pretty much like, it screams like a Square Enix pitch. It's like, we want Max back. Here's the story idea. You make it because you're the contractor. There you go. You can't do much else about it. But I think, like, Michel's handled himself really well. Luke's handled himself very well. Obviously, he's still in his strong meme element form as usual. And it's like, but what else are you going to do? Like Adam said as well, Luke's job is the producer. He's not necessarily the creative aspect of that. Michel is like literally overseeing that. If you see it in the interviews with Luke, his role as the studio executive producer, he's like overseeing things. Like, he's just like, hitting his head against the wall. Oh yeah, let's just bring back Max Caulfield of all people, and I'm going to put it out in the same window as what you were planning. What are you going to do with that? Even Marion was like, what is Marion going to do? Brand manager there. It's like, it's an impossible task. And at that point, you've just basically bit the bullet and been like, we need to move out of this.
I gotta imagine that like Oscar like saw this trailer and was like an all hands on deck meeting. Like, he went over like to Montreal and they had like an all hands on deck meeting about this. Like, I gotta imagine, dude, it's like the next day, like,
in the war room, we're on
just to be a fly on the wall in that room, man. I really wish I could be, but like, holy crap.
I agree with you. Like, I think that there was like almost like an emergency. Like, we need to talk about this. We need to kind of get things, because I think genuinely, if I was like them in their position and I saw that, I think my gut would sink. Like, I feel like it'd be a gut punch. And it's not even like whether it's like they're creating a new story and they're carrying Max's story, etc. I think it's just because of what it is. Like, we were talking about this. I think like even the conversations we had on the podcast when we were talking about, like Lost Records might cannibalize their sales. It might do well. It might completely knock off Life is Strange. That was before we knew Max Caulfield was coming back. And when Max Caulfield comes back, that is the game changer, isn't it? That's like the difference between having Call of Duty Modern Warfare come out instead of Black Ops. It's like they're two different animals. They might be the same franchise, but the different brands, the identities, that's what makes it. And it's like the same with Adam.
All I had to do is bring Max back. That's it.
Bring
that's
Max.
It.
Yeah. And you've seen it as well. Last couple of weeks, whoosh, news is gone. Every little bit of momentum that Lost Records had, even the rumblings and stuff, barring the Lost Records subreddit, which, again, go and check it out if you are interested. They're lovely people. The Lost Records subreddit, barring Lost Records fan, which Chris runs as like a sister thing to Life is Strange fans, barring the Lost Records journal, no chatter, no conversation, nothing, nada. People don't talk about it. Adam has like pretty much said this spot on as we spoke about before. It's always that reaction. Oh, cool. This is from the creators of Life is Strange. And we're moving on. But instead it's like, oh my God, Max has come back. Oh my God. Oh, it's this. You basically attract even the casual Life is Strange, including the hardcore Life is Strange fans. That's why the message gets very cut out with when Adam's saying about double exposure. Because he's like, if it screams cash grab, I'm like, yeah, it does scream like cash grab. But then you see people like, I'm so excited, Max is back. And I'm like, do you know who's developing this again? Can they really create a Max story? Are they going to let you down? Like, we've seen leaks saying that the second part of the game is not good. Everyone is like, as I said, the main conversation's always been, I'm excited for Hannah Tell's come back. It's great that Hannah Tell's back, and it's like, and then you look,
that's all I hear, dude. It's just like, oh, I'm just so excited. Like, I was having a conversation with a friend about it, and it's like we were just catching up.
Wait. You were talking to someone about Life is Strange, and it wasn't me.
Yes. Of course, I'm more personable than you are. Of course, I have more friends.
But Life is Strange.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to talk to anyone about Life is Strange outside of me. That's what it is. That's what you signed up to here.
Like, this is back when you threatened me on TikTok. Like, all of a sudden my TikToks to other people like, no, you won't. I'm your only guy here. Yeah, it's like, it's true. Like, how dare you? I'm like, you can't threaten me. I know I'm your only guy.
Well, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was talking. I'll shout his name out. Like Dan from the Greatest Story Ever Played podcast. Like, I was talking to him, and we're both on the same page, and we were catching up, and we were just like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad Hannah Tell's back." And it's just like every conversation I have, even with the person that I just introduced Life is Strange to, and they're even just like, oh, I'm glad they got the same voice actress. Like, that's the only thing I hear. But like, they see the trailer, and they're just like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess. Like the murder mystery thing, that's fun. But this is exactly why I want to see an original Deck 9 IP. Dude, I want it, because this could have been it if we just had. Bro, if we just had a different character and we didn't call it Life is Strange, we just called it just double exposure, or even just like what was the leaked name? Aperture, like Aperture, an existence of two worlds or something like that. Like, I know it doesn't sell well, but at least it's just kind of like, it would have been a Deck 9 IP.
Yeah.
That the Hannah Tell thing was like a Square Enix idea. It was.
Of course it was. I know I can't validate this from like a lot of sources, but I know from at least like one, it would seem like that was the decision where it's like Deck 9 is being like told that this is the decision to kind of go from Square Enix, because Square Enix has overarching influence on this series. I said this to Adam, like, I know things about this series which like would blow people's minds just from my own thing about it, but I only know it from certain sources. I can't say it from every source, and I'm not going to put it out here for people to start jumping up and down, like causing things. It's the same thing with the Hannah Tell situation. That's why I didn't say it. I told Adam before, I was like, do I say it? And he was like, it's probably not worth it because like we would add more fuel to the fire of it. But like, I don't think it was a Deck 9 idea. I think like you can, there's already certain elements where, for example, you take Max out of the story, it would still work. It's also the pivot towards the supernatural element where it's like the murder mystery. Because the funny part is Swan Holloway is doing the story which many people will connect with, which is the coming, like the growing story, the adolescent years, all the stuff that makes Michelle's stories as they are. Same with Luke's stories. That's what it is. It's that game. But I think some people have just seen Max and started jumping up and down, and they're going to think they're going to do what Donut did before. But it's like, again, we've seen Deck 9 show interesting shades of storytelling. You've kind of spoken about it before. There's a key difference between a Deck 9 story and a Don't Nod story. But,
which is so interesting, and I want a Deck 9 story so badly. Just a Deck 9, not Life is Strange, not Expanse, just Deck 9, dude.
And in itself as well, Deck 9's gone through a massive overhaul. Like, there's been so many different staff members who have come and gone, redundancies, allegations, an unfit environment, allegations from Square Enix. Like, you're saying that this is a game that's being produced by Square Enix, and then their studio's being accused of bullying people who work at Deck 9 whilst making Life is Strange games, and allegations. And it's like, hang on a minute, it's like, is there going to be any harmony in this game? Like, how are you going to get anything about it? And it's like, all these questions happen. The same with like getting out in 4 months. It's like, that's crazy. It's like bang, and it's like, we're going to get out in October, and it's going to have like 2-week early access, and this edition and that edition, and you pay $30 extra from Cats, and you get these costs.
No time to save up for it. It's kind of like, pay us $80. It's like, whoa, okay, is this an unexpected bill? Did my car crash? Like, what's happening here? It's like $80 in 4 months, buddy. What the heck, man? Dude. I haven't pre-ordered, by the way. I haven't pre-ordered yet. Because again, like, you're giving me, you just like pop out of the blue and it's like, pay us $80. I'm like, what the? Whoa, no, I got vinyls to buy, buddy. I don't have $80 right now.
Look,
God dang.
I'm going to get hamstrung into buying it. Like, my position will be very clear. When the channel like continues up to that first 2 weeks, we're not going to be putting spoilers out there. I won't be making any social posts about it. Even like the thumbnails will be very generic press release images. Like, I'm going to make sure that I kind of states that, because I want people to come here, but then also I have the fear where people come and watch content here and then they get an algorithm link that tells them to the spoilers, and it's like, that's the impossibility of it. You're basically screwing people over, and I've said this repeatedly. I'm like so about it, and it's the same thing with like the Donut devs and Donut statement. You can say whatever you want. You can say they're respecting Deck 9, they're trying to give breathing spaces to both games. Oscar go back and say that I don't believe him for a second, because his hand has been moved here. Like, he can say he wants to give breathing spaces to both of them. I respect him for being honest about it, like, being admirable about it in person. And this might cost my job at Don't Nod one day. like I'm saying with Oscar go back, like, he's doing that like show for me in terms of a statement, because like their hand has been forced. There's not a chance it was just going to come out, because me and Adam were flip-flopping. We're like, you can go in October and September and November and December. And I just kept thinking, I was like, you can't delay this because it's the big Q4 game. And you've just delayed Banishers, as Adam has mentioned before. And now, again, you're pushing it back. And I'm sitting there looking at my Don't Nod stock and my investment. I'm like, oh my God, Q4 is going to look brutal in terms of like what they can expect. So we're going to have to we're going to hear from Gilbert when he does his conference call, whenever that is going to be, to find out what happens to Don't Nod's, like, plan of work, because they're obviously going to have to find a frame in that early 2025 to get big bookings in there and get big sales on it, because this game is big. This is an important IP for them. They want it to be a Life is Strange-esque success. And it's just, that doesn't mean it's going to be a success in itself, Adam. Actually, I'll say one thing as well before we wrap up. I think this could potentially work out for them, right? Because I think, for example, if Life is Strange Double Exposure follows what the leak is, and people buy it early because they get hamstrung into it, yeah? And the first party is good. And the second part is a massive disappointment. It has a massive adverse knock-on effect on the franchise. You might get more people pivot towards Lost Records thinking, actually, you guys haven't delivered for me. And instead, these guys have now got open room and open space. and then they just move over slowly, and they're like, actually, this game has got good word of mouth campaigning. It's got like people interested in it. So basically, you become quite disenfranchised with Life is Strange because it has underwhelmed. It's obviously shown that a fast marketing period, 4-month release, as you said, underhanded, like, a bit of shady kind of maneuvers, and then you basically you kind of walk away thinking like, it was great seeing Hannah Tell, but it was disappointing overall. Deck 9 weren't able to deliver to high expectations. Square Enix has done a cash grab here and there. And then you like look over the corner, you're like, hello, Lost Records. Hello, Michel.
Yes.
Hello, Luke. That's where I think it could potentially pay off for them big time, because then the marketing could be like, straight up with that, because then it's just like smooth sailing. Hey, you know what? You were disappointed with Life is Strange, but these guys are the Life is Strange creators. They have key members of the Life is Strange team working there. They're creating the story of Swan Holloway, which is basically going to be a spiritual successor to Max's story from the first Life is Strange game, have same core elements.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's not much more to say though. Shady crap, dude.
It's brutal. I think we'll continue this conversation onto Lost Records Journal later this week, which will come out next week. And unfortunately, Adam won't be there. He sold me out.
Nope.
So he's like, he's not going to. Yeah. This is why afterwards I'm going to put a point in statement out saying the StrangeCast has ended. He's had enough of me like thinking Adam won't be there from scheduling. He's taking a break. Well, he's taking a sort of break. He's already got interruptions and that, but he's taking a break. So I'm going to be joined by Jace, who we talked about before, will be coming onto that as a filler guest, and will be talking to me about Lost Records. And I imagine it'll be kind of in the perspective of Life is Strange and how that's affected things. So we'll kind of go into a bit more detail on there. So do stay tuned for that. But yeah, as we said, we kind of cover this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your conspiracy theories. Obviously, try not to do anything that gets you caught. I'm not being held accountable in case like they come after you for a lawsuit. But like, let us know your theories and stuff, because obviously it seems very divisive at the minute, like in terms of how people feel. Adam, comment of the day, and then we'll do spread the arts, and then we're done here.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Comment of the day, which I thought was very interesting, because I get caught out here. So this was from John D-Rat 2652, sorry, and they said, as happy as I am with Hannah Tell being back and voicing Max again, I have to say that in extended gameplay we got, her voice sounded a bit odd to me. Adnan, you said that Max's voice sounds more mature, but I actually think the opposite. It sounds higher pitched and more quote unquote childlike, end quote, compared to Hannah's performance in 2015, which is curious because Max is supposed to be 10 years older in Double Exposure. We'll have to see when the full game comes out, but from the short gameplay scenes we've got, I was almost weirded out with how different her voice sounded.
It's funny that like when my wife and my friend who played Life is Strange for the first time, they saw the trailer and both of them actually said that her voice actually was pitched higher. And I was like, oh, I didn't even, they both agree that like it sounded higher. And I was like, oh, I didn't even notice. I thought it sounded more mature. But like now we got 3 people that I know that said like, oh, it sounded higher,
So I had because I when I saw that comment, I was like, hang on a minute, because like for me, like I thought they had like matured her voice a little bit, but then also I went back and watched other scenes and stuff, and it seems to kind of almost like flip sometimes. It seems like she sounds very mature, and then obviously does a Shaka Bra kind of thing, Hannah Tell style, and then it's like the higher pitched voice, and I'm like, hang on a minute. And then I was thinking, obviously, like when the trailer started, I heard Hannah's voice, and I was like losing my, I went absolutely ape before, like, before you were sending the videos, I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, I know that voice from a mile away. Like, I remember the first video that's ever done this channel, Hannah Tell came on the call. I hadn't spoken to her for 5 years, and she said hello. And all I could think about was putting my head up and saying Max, because it sounded like, it's that moment when you know the voice. But my other theory I had for this, Adam, was the fact that I think that maybe they have done the voice intentionally higher pitched, because do you remember what Michel said where he's like, I didn't recognize her, but the voice was there. And I think that's where the marketing's come from, because obviously like we've seen it from some of the footage so far, Max is quite hard to recognize in certain scenes, but then obviously when you have the iconic voice actress and the voice behind it, it's an instant like that. So they might actually have intentionally done that in VO's the performance sessions with Hannah being like, can you raise your voice a little bit or higher pitch it or changing the audio because they want people to recognize her because she's not visually as present. Like, for example, when she's wearing the beanies and stuff, doesn't really look like Max in certain parts. She's aged a lot. So maybe they've intentionally done her voice a little bit more higher pitched to make her,
Yeah, all I hope is that Webb is part of the performance capture here. I just hope it is.
I believe it is. I think it sounds like Webb was the performance director on this game. So like that's my only thing with it, like where the story goes and whatever else. Like from Deck Nine side, at least the motion capture team is their motion capture team is great, both on the Expanse and also on Life is Strange games. And Webb as a performance director has like very much easily already proven his worth in terms of like in true colors. So I have absolutely really no doubt what he's going to be able to do with the actors on double exposure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, it's interesting. If anyone else is there, let us know. Did you think that voice was higher pitched, like, or am I going crazy as well? Because I thought maybe
am I going crazy? Because like I didn't think it was higher either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I thought like her voice was a bit maybe it was just that. Maybe it was the scenes where it was like sometimes she sounded a bit mature, sometimes she wasn't. She didn't sound mature, but as you will. So thank you for the comment for that, and as always as well, if you are wanting to let your comment be read out, put it on the video. We'll pick out the best one and we'll go from there. We'll try and rotate them to keep people going. Adam, spread the arts.
Spread the arts. Yes.
Who's up first?
Sure, I'll go first. A little self plug here, but
of course.
Yeah, July 9th, I have a full album coming out. It's called The Retro Policy. It's with comedian Brian McGinnis. So he came to me with a story. He wanted me to do the music for it. So it's really fun. I had a lot of fun making it. So it's called The Retro Policy, coming out July 9th everywhere. A 10-track album. So that's my little shameless plug on Spread the Arts. So Cast a Garden, The Retro Policy. But my real Spread the Arts is kind of one that I'm on the fence about. But I still enjoyed my time with it. And I think it is because I saw it in theaters, and just theater experience nowadays, I hate people, dude. I saw Inside Out too. I saw it. Yeah. Okay. So, full disclosure here. When I say I'm on the fence, if we're going to put Inside Out, the first one, at a 10, right? This is at like a 7 or an 8. It's like a little bit weaker. And I think that the themes were kind of like on the nose a little bit, because it has a lot to do with anxiety and embarrassment and panic attacks. And I think there's just like a lot of things that were on the nose, but I think it was all good intentions. That being said, the bad stuff, right? I enjoyed my time with this. I think it got anxiety really well, in terms of not, clinical anxiety like what I have, like, hey, the sky's too blue and I'm having a panic attack. But the actual emotion of anxiety and how you need to keep that under control. And when you first discover it in your teenage years, I think, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. They got envy, they got embarrassment, they got boredom, they got the teenage years correct. And I just think that like they really did their due diligence on making this true. If you go into this, it's not clinical anxiety, that's not clinical depression, that these are just these straight emotions of anxiety, bro. Like I think they actually killed it on this one. So yeah, no, I very much enjoyed my time with it. Inside Out 2, wait till it's on Disney Plus. That's all I'll say. It's I think it's a good time.
Yeah, it seems to have done well at the box office. I was quite surprised. Like,
yeah,
obviously Bob Iger is probably like jump up and down, and be like, "Yeah, I've got a bit of a win."
Did you hear that Pixar is not doing any new IPs? They're just doing sequels for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think Pixar's golden age has like come and gone now. And unfortunately, they've kind of like gone for that. They're going to go for that period now. Like the golden age of Pixar's happened, and they're going to try and like spawn off all the franchises. Even like Inside Out 2, it's like, really? Could you not think of like an original IP and do something like that? The original one was like quite like out there. It's like a Pixar idea. It's actually
and they nailed the emotions on that one. No, yeah, it was a really magical IP, Inside Out, and then this one is just it loses a little bit of that magic, but I think it's still a good time. Yeah.
And it's weird as well because of Pixar as well. I don't really rate their sequels per se, like the early stuff, maybe Toy Story. And like even when that went a bit too far off, I feel like when it got to 4, I was like really?
Yeah.
Like, the first 2 maybe, but I feel like, and then Cars as well, and the sequels, it's like I'm like, come on. Like, it's the Pixar's a really weird bunch because I think that the animations are beautiful and like what they do as well. And some of the original ones like Ratatouille, Wall-E, they are like incredible. Up, for example. But it's like I don't rate like when they do this, and it's like when you see it Inside Out 2, I'm like, and also as well, it's like a standing indictment of like that's what the cinema is. It's like because I've heard people go to that or Garfield recently. I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, why are people going to like Garfield, for example? It's like I had a massive like box office opening. It's just a weird kind of thing.
The best thing about the whole Garfield thing is that TikTok thing is like, I know where you live. It's just some. That's the only thing good coming out of this Garfield thing. It's just like someone's house.
Say that I had a friend who took her child to see Garfield, and I said that like Garfield could be like a bit of a tism thing of like how he behaves, and then she stopped. She's like, oh, hang on a minute. And I was like, oh, I see it. I was like, yeah,
we do like lasagna.
Exactly.
We do like lasagna. It's a nice texture,
Well, no. The lasagna sheet's plain, sauce on the side, and then we can like, you don't mix those, man.
You're on the full spectrum. You're on the other end.
Like they go on the separate. Like we're separating everything here. Like sauce is there. If you want to dip it, you can dip it. All plain, yeah. all I want in my life is I could live off chicken strips and chips. Like all I want.
Yeah.
Like keep it beige. I'm happy. Bit of ketchup on the side. Everything has to be separate on the plate.
Everything's separate, yeah. Oh my god, I have to eat the plate in order. Like it has to be on a certain order, or else like I'm not eating it, dude. There was a time I would not eat during commercials. Like if a commercial was happening,
really?
Like I couldn't eat during the commercials. Like I would put down my fork and knife, and I would just like sit there until the show's back on, and then I would start eating.
See, in I always think in my other lifetime I would have been a chef because I always appreciate when the chefs would plate things up. And you like how they position things, but then sometimes they put like a salad together with all the things on top of it. I'm like, no,
dude.
No.
The amount of autism that's in the back of house, like people are just like, oh, they're just artists. No, dude, they're struggling, dude. They need therapy. They're very much like OCT autism. Like it's very much just like panic attacks all the time, dude. Yeah,
it all has to be like separate. I think like that's. Yeah, it's oh god. Do you know what? It's funny that you mentioned the thing like eating certain things in order. I do that sometimes. So I have to like, you have to eat like you can't. For example, like if you're having McDonald's, you can't eat the burger and the chips at the same time. You eat one,
and then go on to the next one. Yes,
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You can't just like mash each other. Oh my god, I'm panicking thinking about that. Holy crap!
I don't understand how people do that. They have like the burger in one hand, they like picking up chips and eating them. I'm like. No, eat the chips first, then the burger, or eat the burger, then the chips.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're mixing these two things.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes like I'll just like, it's weird how my order goes, dude. It's like it's chaos, but like it's in an order, like within this chaos, but like nothing goes in my mouth without purpose. Yeah.
I feel like my life is summed up by that scene where the Joker walks out with the detonator in his hand outside the hospital. And he's in the nurse outfit. That's my life summed up personally. That's how I but I think like my spread the arts will be simple. I'm going to recommend the guy who's going to sell me out for the Lost Records Journal and his album. So I'm going to recommend you go and check that out as my plug. And then I'm going to take a completely different turn. And my other one's going to be that you should, if you live in the UK, go and vote. So, which I think is very important because our election is coming up. And it should be coming out, I think, the day after this episode comes out.
Election is art.
It is an art. And obviously, if you see the elections that have happened in France, for example, there's one in the US later this year. It's very important for you to vote, whether you like people or not. cast your vote. People died for that vote. Even if you want to spoil your ballot, you can do that, but you should actually definitely exercise your right to democracy, because it only comes every so couple of years. And as you'll see as well, and I've been very much following in France as well, you'll see what happens when people don't vote, or if people vote in certain directions. So my thing is that it's a public service announcement for people in the UK to vote, for at least on the elections, and however you want to vote as well. That's your choice.
And for you Americans, it just, write in your votes for Garfield.
Yeah, me and you need to talk about that debate. If anything, that was just
bro. I messaged my friend in Germany. I'm like, so how can I move? How can I come over, dude? They're like, call an embassy. I'm like, okay.
The worst part is, I woke up thinking like, I'm gonna watch this in the morning because I can catch up on it. And what's the worst that could possibly happen? And then when I saw the angle was
worst happened, dude.
Yeah. And then when I saw this angle was spun, I was like, hang on a minute. And then I'm like watching it and I'm like, this is awful. Then I'm finding memes and I'm like, these need to go to Adam as soon as possible. So I'm like sending them.
Dude,
ones...
I've been seeing the memes, dude. And like, because it's mirrored right now, I'm trying to even out my hat, and it's just like I can't tell which hand is going where. Anyways, but no, like apparently since that debate, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Biden has gone to Camp David to talk with his family about dropping out of the race. And like, I don't know if it's true or not. I've only seen like little rumors here and there, but I'm just like, dude, after that debate, I'm like, I don't know if I trust this man to be leading our country, man. Like, I don't trust either one of them, dude. They're both insane. They're both absolutely insane, dude. And then apparently, like, there's something wrong with Robert Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on with our democracy? But Jill Stein is back. Jill Stein's running for Green Party, and Jill Stein, let's go. But North Dakota doesn't have a Green Party ballot, so I don't like this. This is going to be an awful 4 years, dude.
Yeah, well, I think we actually haven't talked about politics and stuff on this podcast, but like I've already like said this before. Like I'm like they should have like ditched Biden at this election, and be like, you can't stand as our Democratic candidate. I wouldn't have picked Kamala Harris either, because it's like she's deeply unpopular and she's not going to do well. And they just went with a complete upstart, like no one knows, and just done it as like a clean slate. It's like you either choose between this guy who has like the shadiest record and is a felon, considered by US law, or you choose between our new guy, and it's like could be like, oh, woman, whoever it is, and it's like this is the new opportunity you have. So it's like,
yes,
it's just. Oh man, yeah. There's a podcast.
It's a rough one right now, dude. I thought 2020 was a rough election. This is just like shoot myself in the foot or shoot myself in the other foot. Like it's just like, oh my god, dude. So it's gonna be amazing. I think the next 4 years in my country is gonna be so cool. And I'm just saying right now that Donut Montreal might be watching. And hey, man, if you need somebody to do your job, and get me on over to Montreal, baby. Like, I'm willing.
You might have
willing, dude.
You might have to do a Swan Holloway and get your bags packed and go and meet some people in the random,
dude.
like meet a random bunch of people, and hopefully it changes your life. But we'll wrap up here, because that's that.
Yes.
And obviously I'm like exhausted. Like it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like we need to wrap this up. So thank you to everyone joining. And just one thing as well, the channel has now hit YouTube partner program as well, so which is great. So thank you so much for supporting it. We've been doing this for 4 years, and it's great for that. I haven't actually spoken to Adam about this either, but I have had someone who listens to the show and speaks to us about it. Well, speaks to me at least about a really lovely person, saying that you should consider doing a Patreon, and like letting us support you. And like, I need to talk to Adam about that, because like, for example, like I just did another episode with Adam recently in StrangeCast where I was slating Square Enix about releasing something early for $30 price increase. And the last thing I think about ever doing is releasing a StrangeCast episode early with a price lock on it, because like for me, I would be more inclined to do it if people wanted to support it with a smaller tier, and it would be like would not affect the channel in any way, shape, or form, because I am not someone who is holier than thou. I am someone who has a mic. Adam is someone who has a mic. We like to stay humble, and I will never ever change.
I am everything but humble.
Yeah.
If you're a watcher of this show, I was like, you can call me a lot of things. Humble is not one of those things.
Well, I'm humble, and I like to think that Adam will convert, and I think Adam will convert that way when he's not calling out people. But I think like my thing is like I don't ever want to kind of do it because I've been on YouTuber streams. I've seen where they basically lock out subscribers from like commenting on like live streams because you have to have subscriber early access or whatever tier membership is. I find it like very greedy for people, and I find when people have like $50 price charges on like, you know, tiers, and Adam's probably like, you know, it could easily be like we set something up, we start making money, you can incentivize it, but it's exploitative for a lot of people. And like, so for example, the YouTuber partner program will give us some kind of incentive to pay for the platform, for example, because we technically do hemorrhage money every month, like software, the logos and stuff. It has been that kind of thing. But it's like, you know, if Patreon or some other platform people are interested in supporting us on is something that is you want to do, then I will consider it with Adam. We'll talk about it and we'll set very low tiers, because I'm not going to set a $25 tier and then give you 5 episodes early access. Or you can message us privately, because, for example, anyone who watches this, you can just basically message us at any time, because I'll get back to you at some point. It might take me 5 or 10 years, but I'll message you, because I am not Mr. Beast. I am not anyone or trying to pretend to be someone. Literally just a person with mics. So if you want to talk, you can just message me. So it's like, let us just kind of like talk about that privately behind the scenes, me and Adam, and then we'll kind of work out something if you guys want to do it. But again, it'll be very like bog standard tiers, and it's more about if you want to just like support the channel, because obviously I still need to buy things and sort things out, but it's more about for you guys to support us. It's never going to be like, oh, you have a private access channel, chat to us, because the simple fact is, for me, if you want to chat to me, you can just message me on Twitter, as many people have done and have spoken to me on Twitter or done anything else with that. So there's
I'll
no
show you
point
my toes if you message me.
How much?
No, for free. It'll be like, hi,
Right.
Adam, and you're just gonna get a picture of toes.
Wow. Maybe you should do that for the
pretty
album.
easy. Yeah. It's like it will be a picture of toes with the QR codes that go right to the album.
There you go. There. He's all about the marketing. But yeah, as I said, we just kind of wanted to make that transparent, and maybe we'll revisit if people do want to support us. Obviously, we're very appreciative to the people who support the channel, who watch it and have followed it and kept us afloat as we have done. So at that point, I'll wrap up here as well, because we're coming up to the 2-hour mark. Thank you again for joining us. If you are new here, one more time, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn on notifications, like the video, share with your friends. Help support the channel, helps keep up to date with the channel more than anything else. We're almost at 1,200 subscribers, so please do subscribe if you don't. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. We're available on Spotify with the video version. We're available on Apple Podcasts. We're available on everything. So please do check us out on those. Give us a rating as well if you haven't as well. Again, help support and boost our visibility with other new people, so we can bring new people here. As I said, stay tuned next week. The Lost Records Journal will be back. Unfortunately, I'll have a new host because this one doesn't want to help me out. But yeah, you know,
unfortunately, dang, Jace, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, Jace, that's what happens, you know. This guy's like just sold me out, so you're unfortunate. No, I'm very much looking forward to having Jace on here. It'll be very interesting to do. Stay tuned to that. We had a very good time when we were in for the Emma Vicelli sign, so we got on really well, and I think you'll do very well stepping into Adam's big boots to continue that podcast, because we will continue the conversation about Lost Records even from now all the way up to release and beyond. But anyway, stay tuned. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Lost Records delay. And until then, stay tuned. Later this month, another live stream, another StrangeCast episode is coming out. Take care, guys. Bye.
Peace.
Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.